Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. Today, thought we would take, since we're about less than 24 hours away from the tournament, thought we would talk with a trivia tournament. What would be the word, Brian?
We'll go with veteran. We'll keep it classy for now.
Veteran.
Tournament veteran. Yeah.
Playing this year with Public Enemy, Mr. Bryan Crawford. Brian, thanks for joining me.
Yes, I appreciate it, Brian.
Brian, how long have you been playing trivia?
I think I played my first game of bar trivia in Athens back in 2002 or 2003, I guess it was. I played my first springtime cumulative tournament and championship game in 2007. So I've been on and off for about 14 years and spent 9 of those years with a microphone as well hosting.
So one of the things a lot of the teams that are going to be playing tomorrow talking about is, what to expect.
Right.
Is the game going to be hard? Is the game going to be easy? So before we get into sort of the mechanics of everything, what are the little tips that you've learned over the years of playing that, everybody should be thinking about and doing before they show up at Famous Joe's tomorrow?
I think it's once the game starts, once the first question has been asked, it's just another game of trivia at that point. It's trust your instincts, go with your gut. And at any table, at any time, somebody is liable to get the hot hand, so to speak, and trust them and go with it. Like I think I'm guilty of it myself years ago. First time playing some of these big games like this, where you get really amped up about it, and you just you question everything, and you start bidding incorrectly, and you just get outside of how you normally play. In fact, in the past, some of the teams I played with, we had virtually a rule book that we played by in terms of how we bid and how we answered and certain things. If it's a 50-50 question, we bid this. If it's true false, we always bid this if we can, that sort of thing. And just stay within who you are. I mean, if you're a regular trivia team who's winning your little weekly games, your local games, then you've got a great chance tomorrow or today, depending on when you're watching this. And occasionally you get somebody like us. My team, we're a group of trivia mercenaries. We play once or twice a year. We mostly just get together and I hope my mom doesn't ever see this at some point. We just get together to drink beer. That's our whole thing. There's going to be 7 of us there. The 7 of us are just there to drink beer. That's it. So have a good time.
And I think that's when I was a player too, and we played in some of the same tournaments, both on teams and against each other. Yeah. That it was you get amped up, or I would get amped up about the idea of winning, because for us, for me and my teams when we played separate from you guys, we were not the favorites. Right. We were the middle of the pack trivia team, and we were hoping to get hot on question 10 or question 20, right, or know an entire quarter, because that's where those shifts happen, where all of a sudden things get interesting. And so that's but then once you play the game, it's all right. We're just kind of it's a little bit different. The game, my experience is when I play these kind of games, the game moves a little bit slower. What do you think?
I agree with that. I think there's a little bit, and a lot of it too is because of the size of the room and the number of people and everything, and because as a host, you're looking at it with a different perspective, and most of the time you've got one person who's responsible for bringing the answers up and different things, and you're trying to kind of regulate things, and sometimes you will intentionally slow it down a little bit, maybe play a 4-minute song instead of a 3-minute song, and you also know that you've got the venue sort of to yourself for a period of time, and
right,
and you can stretch a little bit and lean into it, and then also for me, that's part of the kind of pomp and circumstance of it, is that you get to spend more time with that group of friends. Now, it's a little bit different if you've been playing trivia for the last 8 weeks in the cumulative together, and you might be sick of each other by this point. By the time you get to the table, at Famous Joe's, you may not want to see those people anymore. But like for some of us, we only put a team together for these types of games, and so we get to see each other, a couple times a year and hang out and whatnot. But no, I think the pacing is a little bit different, and for some people that can be an adjustment if you're used to playing a fast-paced 90-minute game. When this thing stretches out and it's at the 2-hour mark, and you're like, oh, what's going on here? Just relax, just be in the moment, play the game, and roll with it.
Right. And we'll be doing breaks at the end of every round too. Mostly, when me and you started playing, the best cell phone anybody had was a flip phone. So it was, but people are now wanting to check their apps and stuff, so they'll be able to go out to their car and do that. Because if you are watching this tonight, and this will be announced as well, and it's been announced a few times. 15 minutes before showtime, 1:45 is when all the phones have to leave the building. So if you are one of the earlier teams that have been asked to arrive early because of we're trying not to overflow the kitchen. We've got arrival times based on how much and how often you played in cumulative. You can have your phone at the table up until 1:45 or 1:45, then it needs to be moved out to the car. So that's why we do breaks at the rounds, especially for people to get up and go to the bathroom. But for those teams that show up early, I always encourage people to go around and say hello to all these other teams that you either play against your one night or you see on the leaderboard the other nights of the week that you never meet.
Yeah, that was always a big part of it for me. When I started playing this with full contact trivia many years ago, I played like the Athens shows were my home games.
Right.
But there was one year, I think it was 2007, where I played in all but one game during the cumulative phase. So that year, I went to every single venue and played everywhere, every night of the week. And it was ridiculous. 5,000 miles driven or something like that. And
I think that's the year I was on your team.
That was you joined us, I believe, in 2011, maybe. I was still living in North Georgia and was Athens based in 2007 when I did that. I actually have a golden school bus somewhere up here behind me on my bookshelf from having been the most traveled person during cumulative phase that year. But I'm glad you brought up the point too about leaving cell phones in the car. Take it as an opportunity to disconnect a little bit and just kind of be there in the moment. And if I can throw out another piece of advice too, in terms of simplifying things for your team and your table, bring cash. That way at the end of the day, you're not playing debit card roulette. You're not all of that stuff. Bring cash, be flexible. They're your friends. Hopefully, if you're covering a little portion of an appetizer for somebody else, hopefully you like them enough to do that.
Right.
But I texted my team earlier in the week and I was like, guys, bring cash Saturdays. We're not trying to play, card roulette and deal with all that. And that way too, if it's at the end of it all and you're ready to go and you see your server on the way out of the door, you can hand them cash money with the check and say, thank you, tip well, and head home,
Yes, so, please tip well. These servers that we're going to have on Saturday, Brian knows this as well. Yeah. They're not going to have a public table until 5:00 in the evening.
Right.
They're not going to have any. We are the sole people in the restaurant. Yep. And part of that, is something I negotiate. The other part of it, though, is what we don't want to have happen is we don't ever want a server to go, we're not ever doing that again.
Right.
I was here all day and I didn't make any money. That is the death knell of not only a tournament game, but any trivia show. The servers, the restaurant, of course, they pay us to come out and host. We negotiate a little bit for this final game, but the two things you can do if you're a big supporter of hard-hitting trivia on Saturday is to spend a lot of money with the restaurant and tip that server like it's Christmas Eve, essentially. Just,
Absolutely. Oh, you can also, sign up on Patron.
Say that again?
Out that way. You can also go sign up on Patron to help.
Patron, yeah. Patreon, yeah. Patron.
Too much Conrad, baby.
Yeah. So play your game, tip well, eat and drink, mingle with everybody else, enjoy the pomp and circumstance of it. I think a lot of these newer teams that are coming into the fold for the first time, they're going to be surprised at how loud it is. There will be 4 speakers instead of the normal 2 to make sure that everybody can hear. There will be scheduled to be a co-hostess. Coral Vega is going to come out and kind of keep an eye on things on the floor while I'm hosting. Right. And it's just one of those things where we're trying to give everybody the best experience that they possibly can for their money. We understand everybody paid $120 to be here. That's not a cheap. And some folks are driving from Johns Creek and Cumming and Carrollton and everywhere else, and that's not an easy thing to do on a Saturday. So, yeah. We appreciate all of that too. I'm going to try to keep this short. Brian, anything else you would tell folks?
My biggest thing, just reiterate, have fun, play your game. Don't get stressed out by the environment.
Listen
just
to the
enjoy
question.
yourself. Just enjoy yourself. And if you do like I did in 2009, I guess it was, and you blow the final question and don't win the game as a result of it, don't beat yourself up over it. Don't go down to the next trivia venue and sit and drink for 3 hours and wait till kickoff for that game. That's a terrible idea. So
Terrible idea, huh?
it was, yeah. It was.
All right, before we go, Brian, I know you got a couple of online businesses. Tell us about them so that everybody can be able to click there. Brian's also sponsoring the game as well this week. So, Brian, tell us about this stuff.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. So inside your game packet tomorrow in your folder, you'll see several ads in there from local businesses that Brian gave the opportunity for us to buy. And one of them's a split screen ad, so to speak, for a couple of things that I do. I represent Redcon One nutritional supplements, protein powders, all the different stuff for that, health oriented. Feel free to stop by the table and ask me about that anytime you get a chance. And I'm also an independent dealer for AMSOIL synthetic oils. So if you've got Harley Davidson or your ATVs or UTVs, or you just want a premium oil for your car or truck, I can help you out with that too. So I had to do something since I stopped hosting trivia. All that sweet trivia money went away. So
people have no idea both how easy and how just hard this job is.
Right. And I apologize for all the click clacking. My dog just decided to run in here and visit me and then bail back out. So
it happens.
Yes, that's right.
All right, Crawford. We'll see you Saturday. We'll see everybody else on Saturday too. Have a great night, everybody, and good luck tomorrow.